talk about artisans, craftspeople, people who work with their hands, and in some cases, chisels and hammers. In fact, joining us here on the line right now is Heather Lawson. She is trained as a restoration stonemason. She began her career restoring historic architecture, and she works in her shop in Bass River. I believe that's where she is, where we've reached her right now. Heather Lawson, hi.
Hi.
It is a real pleasure to be able to speak with you. And how I came about finding about you had to do with this video called Stone. And perhaps some of our listeners have heard or seen it. How did that video ever get produced?
Well, the Nova Scotia Designer Craft Council and Craft Alliance here in Nova Scotia wanted to try to bring some light to craftspeople of Nova Scotia. So they got the services of Breakwater Studios, production company, to film 6 Nova Scotia craftspeople in their studios. And so mine just came out, and every 2 weeks the rest will come out. Like every 2 weeks a new one will come out.
Okay. Now, the video was very well made, very well produced, and it did give us a glimpse into your life. And I wanted to hear from you, stonemason. How did that ever become a career?
30 years ago, the province decided to restore Province House, and at that time, the craft was pretty much stonemasonry craft was pretty much dead in the province and in the country. So in a act of brilliance, they decided to bring over a British company with the agreement that they would train 12 of us to British Guild standards. Okay. And so of that, 10 of us finished.
So you were one of a class of 30, but you were one of 10 who made it.
One of 12.
One of 12.
One of 12.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Was this something you'd always thought you'd like to do? How did working with stone and chisel and hammer ever even cross your mind? How did you end up going into the training?
Well, it's really interesting because when I was quite young, they did the restoration or the rebuild of Louisbourg. And I remember at the time reading that and thinking, oh, I wish I was older. And then, and my years went on. I went to university and I was interested in geology and stuff. And then my life went in a totally different direction. And I worked with children, actually, for a number of years. And then I just seen the ad for it one day in the paper, and I thought, I'm going to try for that. And I was lucky to get chosen.
So they accepted you as a student, and you say it was a group of men from Britain who came over to teach?
Right. There was, I think, around 7 of them came over to train us. And it was a 4-year training program, 40 hours a week, hands-on. We started learning, did all our work for the first year with hand tools only, and then in the second year we were allowed to start using a few power tools.
Well, with all due respect, Heather Lawson, how comfortable were they having a female student?
You would have to ask them about that.
How was your experience?
It was fine. I was determined to make it through the program, and back then, that was 30 years ago, and it was just the beginning of women going into non-traditional trades. So I think anyone use their imagination would know that some parts of it were challenging.
In spite of that, or despite that, here we are 30 years later. Are you one of the only trained stonemasons here in Nova Scotia? Of
the original group of 10, I think there's 3 of us still working in the province full-time in stone. 3 of the British gentlemen are still here working. And after we finished our training, there was about a half a dozen more trained after that. So I would say there's probably still 12 left in the province. But having said that, the majority of us are in our 50s now. Mm-hmm. So the trade is on the downhill again.
That restoration of Province House, as you mentioned, was a significant job. Are there many jobs? Is there much call for this type of work?
Nova Scotia is almost finished. We did Province House, and then we moved across the road and we did the first restoration of the Art Gallery in Nova Scotia. So, it's been over 25 years, and it's being done again. But most of our stone-built heritage has been restored, so there's less work now.
Now I'm going to guess your focus is on creating works of art.
That's my preference, is to do sculpture work, yeah.
The video was very interesting. It shows you out hunting for rocks, and I love how you say that sometimes they speak to you. So, and not certainly metaphorically, that when you're designing a piece or coming up with a piece, sometimes you don't know what that piece is until you actually find a stone that speaks to you.
Well, it happens different ways. So depending on what I'm making, if I'm making a commission piece for someone and we already know what size it's going to be, then I will order stone to that size. Or sometimes when I've come up with my own designs. My days in the quarry are my days off. It's when I just get to roam around, and you'll come across rocks and you'll think it'll give you a whole new idea of something to make. Other times I'm trying to make something specific, and I'll go looking. I love to work with aged stone as opposed to, I enjoy working with cut stone as well, what we call dimension stone. But a lot of my work is done at a rough stone, bound stone.
With you mentioned commission pieces. How often are you hired to do a job for as a specific group or person or place?
It's about 50-50. Doing commission work and recutting restoration pieces basically afford me to be able to do my work. So it's about 50-50.
So where would we find some of your pieces on public display here in Nova Scotia?
Yeah, I'm in two different galleries in Nova Scotia. I'm in Harvest Gallery in Wolfville, and I'm in Down to Earth Gallery in Antigonish, and I'm just over the border at Fog Forest in Sackville, New Brunswick.
All right. Antigonish, that's where you grew up?
I spent some years there, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you talked about Louisbourg. When was the last time you were in Louisbourg?
About 8 years ago, I think.
Any of the work that you had aspired to still there and captivate you in any way? Does it still speak to you?
Well, Louisbourg is a brilliant spot. I actually had an opportunity to cut 5 sets of chimney caps for them by looking at pictures of the original ones from the first build. So that was a lot of fun.
We've had the opportunity to speak with you about how we came to find out about you in this film called Stone. You've seen it. What do you think of it?
I think it's really well done. I feel a little exposed, but I think they did a wonderful job. I spent 3 days with them, and I was mic'd the whole time. And I once I get comfortable with people, I talk freely, and that what they captured is what I guess interests them.
And you say you were. It took a few days, and has this been? I don't imagine you've worked with people watching you. I'm just curious how that experience was.
Well, I'm actually quite used to that. I run my workshop and I run a gallery here in Bass River, and so I have people coming here all summer who watch me work or take a try at themselves. And I also do workshops for people, so I'm getting used to being watched.
What about the attention that this is drawing towards you? Are you surprised?
A little bit. I think it's great. I think that was the whole idea behind doing these films, was to try to bring attention to Nova Scotia craftspeople. There's a lot of us out and about that a lot of people don't know about, trying to continue the traditional crafts of the province.
What I find interesting is there's a bit of an overlap. We've had all this discussion about the film industry in Nova Scotia and how important it is to tell stories. And I don't know whether the group that was there to document what you did or what you do had any kind of financial help from this film tax credit. But that said, stories are important. And I wanted to thank you for being comfortable in your own skin enough to let this happen.
Well, thank you.
And this is, as you mentioned, a series of other videos that are coming out. Have you seen any of the others?
No, we haven't. None of the craftspeople have seen each other's, so it'll be new to me as well. I'm really looking forward to it.
And just before we leave, your workshop, as you mentioned, is in Bass River.
It is.
And is it open to the public, or you're just not going to chase people away if they show up?
I'm here most days. People are welcome to come anytime they want. And in coming in June, I open. I'm here for sure every day from Thursday to Saturday.
All right. Well, Heather, thank you for this. I do appreciate it, and hopefully we'll get a chance to speak again.
Well, I thank you very much.
All right.
Have a good day.
And to you. Heather Lawson is a traditional artist. She does stone carving. She's a stonemason, and I didn't ask her about the Knights Templar stuff. It's kind of interesting. She did share a story with me where she felt that in many ways, you know how the Masons, the Masonic Temple, have that secret handshake. It was so they could tell other members of the stonemasonry guild, so to speak, in a way it was to tell whether or not they're all part of the same group. It was kind of like having a union card in a way. Susan Hanrahan is the Executive Director of Nova Scotia's Designer Crafts Council. We'll speak with her when we come back in just a few moments to find out more about what other artists and craftspeople are being highlighted through this ongoing council and video series. That's when we come back in just a few moments. Welcome back at 2:47. It is first hour of Talk in the Afternoons here with Sheldon on News 95.7. Thanks for tuning us in. Thanks for joining us and being a part of our program. Just a few moments ago, we heard from Heather Lawson. She is a stonemason here in Nova Scotia, and her story came to my attention through a video, a work of about 10 minutes or so called Stone, part of a six-video series, and Heather Lawson of Bass River. And attention from around the world to that, and it is one of 5 other ones, or one of 6 in total. Let's talk a little bit about this video series and what else we'll learn in the days ahead. Susan Hanrahan is Executive Director for Nova Scotia Designer Crafts Council. And Susan, I think we should start by asking you if you could tell us about Nova Scotia Designer Crafts Council.
We're a not-for-profit organization of about 350 members, all of whom are working craftspeople across the province of Nova Scotia. We were founded in 1976, and we've been working ever since to help progress craft and further the craft movement in the province.
Well, congratulations on number 1 on that video, and looking forward to seeing the others. So as we heard from Heather, there will be a 2-week, I guess, in between, there'll be every 2 weeks a different series, a video in the series released. So where did the idea come from to document these craftspeople in this way and to share the story?
Well, there are a variety of things that all sort of coalesce to bring the video series into reality. First of all, my colleague and I, Bernard Burton at Craft Alliance Atlantic Association, and I have traveled around to a number of international events for contemporary fine craft. And one of the things we realized is that as fabulous as the makers are here in the province of Nova Scotia, they really don't have any kind of international profile. That coinciding with the fact that this year, 2015, is a national year of craft across Canada. Craft Year 2015 is a project of the Canadian Crafts Federation. And we thought it would be lovely to have some sort of legacy project that we could work on for this craft year that would celebrate craft, promote craft, and would leave behind some sort of record for us that we could point to and say, see, this is what we did for Craft Year 2015, that would also help us get the word out about the wonderful work and the fantastic personalities behind the work that come from Nova Scotia.
We certainly enjoyed our conversation with Heather. Which of the other artisans that we'll learn more about in the weeks to come? Who else will we find out about?
Coming up next is going to be Steven Kennard, a woodturner up in Canning, Nova Scotia. His video is called Turns, and it looks at a little bit of what inspires him to create the work that he produces. Then following after Turns, we're going to have Louise Pence, Mother Earth, on May 19th. Fiber and Wood. This is the only video that features 2 people, and that's a married couple, Sana Rahola and Douglas Drudel. She's a fiber artist working in Finnish felting techniques, and he is a wood carver, and together they produce these wonderful collaborative works. Ladybug, featuring metalsmith and jeweler Elizabeth Gollick on June 16th, and we'll wind out the series with Rust, featuring sculptor Gordon Kennedy from the Deck on June 30th. Who
tell me about the crew that documented these stories.
It's Break Breakwater Studios International Limited. Ben Proudfoot heads that up, and he's a Haligonian. His dad is quite a well-known trial lawyer in Halifax here, and he met up with David Bolin, who's the cinematographer, and David comes out of Toronto, and the two of them work for Ben founded Breakwater Studios International, and they've got offices here in Halifax as well as in just outside of Los Angeles in California. And it was Ben who he had put on Vimeo a couple of years ago his graduate project from film school, I believe it was, which was Ink and Paper, and that garnered almost 1 million hits on Vimeo, and he followed that up with another craft-based documentary called The Ox. And we felt that he treated the artists and their work with so much sensitivity and was able to bring out their personalities, their inspirations, that we felt it was a natural fit for this project.
When I had spoken with Heather and I had mentioned that interesting times, we're talking about a group of artisans who are doing work, who've been working for years in this province, and then we have the film industry and this discussion that's been ongoing about the importance of that industry. And the two are they're combining, they're colliding here in a way that's hopefully positive for both. Is that how you see it?
Indeed we do. And in fact, there's been a lot of crossover between craft and film over the years, not just with this project, but a lot of the members of the Crafts Council and a lot of members of the crafts community in the province have worked with film productions over the years doing costuming, wardrobe, props, and sets. So we do see a lot of linkages for sure.
Well, as we've talked about the video series, will there be a place that people can go? Where can we direct them? I know the one I saw, it was a link and it was on Vimeo, as you'd mentioned, but is there a website where people can find these?
They can come to the Nova Scotia Designer Crafts Council website. We will be releasing them as per the schedule, but you can check them out on our website at www.nsdcc.ns.ca.
We talked, and you mentioned how long the organization has been around, and this has been obviously a campaign. This has been something you've worked on for some time. When did you start work on it?
We started work on this a little more than a year ago. The concept was first floated back early spring last year, and we were able to get funding support from ACOA Nova Scotia and Film and Creative Industries Nova Scotia. And over the last year, we've been working with Ben Proudfoot and Breakwater Studios and the artists themselves, and we really wanted to capture not only the artists and their work, but also little bits of the province of Nova Scotia. So we made care to shoot in 3 different seasons and to shoot in a variety of different regions all across the province to showcase not only the wonderful work, the wonderful people, but the beautiful place in which we all live.
Do you know if that project had qualified for any of the Nova Scotia Film Tax Credit?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
We didn't even apply for it because it is a publicly funded project and the funding came to 2 not-for-profit organizations. We didn't even apply.
I think that's important even to explain as well. That said, we're moving forward. The website is up. I thought it was interesting when I'd asked Susan or Heather if she'd seen the others. She said no. So they have to wait just like the rest of us?
Yes, some of them have had sneak previews of some drafts of some earlier ones, but I think Breakwater team and Bernard Burton at Craft Alliance and myself are the only ones that have seen all 6 so far, as well as the funders. We had a screening for them a couple of weeks ago. But yes, it's going to be a surprise for everybody who's been part of the project to see the rest of them as they unfold.
All right, just do you have a favorite?
It's so hard to say. Every single one of them, there are moments in each of them where it's profound, it's funny, it's thought-inspiring, and of course it's just a celebration of craft in a variety of different forms, so it's really hard. It would be like asking a mother to pick her favorite child. Well,
I won't ask you to do that. Well, thank you for this, and thank you for the education, and thank you for the work you're doing with Nova Scotia Designer Crafts Council.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Right.
We appreciate it.
All the best.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. Bye-bye.
And that was Susan Hanrahan. She's the executive director of Nova Scotia Designer Crafts Council. The video series will be up on their website if you're looking for it, nsdcc.ns.ca, if you want to visit and view Stone or the other videos that will be released coming up. And Life's Work, 6 Conversations with Makers will be the